What's up, guys? We are in the car with Damon from Daily Driven Exotics. This is his supercharged 800 horsepower LP580-2, although I guess it's a LP800-2 now.
Correct.
We're on the Snowball Rally. Does it say it on the hat?
Yeah,
that's baller. We're on the Snowball Rally and having an absolute awesome time, so make sure to check that out on Instagram at Snowball Rally. But I wanted to make a video on the new Ford GT because all of the information finally has been released. I don't know why they delayed it for so long, but Ford just wanted to say it has over 600 horsepower and it's going to have an incredible power to weight ratio.
Which means my car will still beat it.
That is very true. So now we know all the specifics. We've got a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 making 647 horsepower and 550 pound-feet of torque. Its dry weight is 3,053 pounds. Add another 200 pounds for all the vital fluids, and you get something 3,300 pounds-ish. The interesting part is they wanted to have the best power-to-weight ratio of any production car. That was a claim from Ford. Yet the 675 LT has 666 horsepower, so it has more, and it weighs less. And the 488 costs $150,000 less, and it also has more horsepower, and it weighs about the same. The crazy part is its top speed is ridiculous, 216 miles an hour. The previous generation Ford GT from 2005 and 2006 had a top speed of 205 miles an hour, and the Aventador, which has a V12, tops out at 1 mile per hour more, 217. The Huracan we're in right now, in stock form, they do about 211. I don't know what they do with the supercharger on it.
I don't know what the gearing would do.
Yeah, not sure actually. But regardless, especially for a V6 car and for any car in general, 216 miles an hour is very impressive.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why the Ford GT weighs more than expected is Ford actually ended up adding weight back into the car in order to make it faster. Now it sounds counterintuitive, but the hydraulic systems in order to activate the active aero in the rear wing as well as the fancy suspension meant it's going to weigh more. But it clearly is effective, with the caveat. So they tested the car against the 675 LT at Calabogie Racetrack in Canada, as well as a 458 Special. I'm not sure why they did the 458 instead of the 488, but I believe this was a year ago, so potentially it would be harder to get their hands on. They actually purchased both vehicles so that they could test them, because I doubt Ferrari or McLaren would be interested in renting to their competitors. The Ford GT lapped the track in 2 minutes, 9.8 seconds. The McLaren, a second slower, and the Ferrari, 3 seconds slower. Now, this is a Ford performance race car driver racing all three of the cars. So it is possible that McLaren's driver driving the McLaren would be faster than the Ford driving the Ford. But we'll find out when magazines actually test the cars. It does appear that the Ford performs really well on the track. And I heard, overhearing some talks at the motor show from guys who had actually driven the car, that it's incredibly raw. And I think if that's the case, that might be its true saving grace, because the performance isn't as out of this world as we were expecting. But if it is somewhat like the old Ford GT and its visceral, ridiculous experience where you can feel the rocks bouncing against the car and the motor is right behind your head screaming, I think we might have at least more of a winner than previously expected. The Ford has a very impressive anti-lag system. Motor Trend and a few top magazines have gone for rides in the car. No one's driven it yet, but hopefully people will soon, and hopefully myself will be able to drive one. But they said they experienced, and you, absolutely no turbo lag. And part of that is due to specifics that they haven't released yet. But what people have experienced is when lifting off the throttle, the turbos are still actually spooling, so that when you get back on the gas in a racetrack environment, there isn't that turbo lag that you're normally used to. However, with modern day turbos, things like the McLaren 650S, 675 LT, you really don't feel turbo lag. It's not much of a disadvantage at all. Of course, you could install a supercharger and there's no lag whatsoever. Lastly, and this is super different for Ford, it has a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Now, the previous generation Ford GT had a 6-speed manual transmission, the GT500 manual transmission, GT350R. So having this new technology is definitely different for Ford. Now, they needed to do it because all of their competitors nowadays have fancy double-clutch transmissions. It makes acceleration faster as well as more control and speed on the track, but it's something they haven't done before, so I'm hoping they're able to pull it off and make something as awesome as Lamborghini's new double clutch system, or Ferrari, or McLaren, or Porsche, because they've got some stiff competition. Well, there you have it. There's 5 things that you need to know about the new Ford GT. 4GT. I hope you found this video informative. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. Check out Snowball Rally and Daily Driven Exotics. See you next video.